Step back, another three. Puts it in. Jaylen Brown!
The Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that has fought its way back to relevance after years in the wilderness. Last season, they made a historic run, ending a 20-year playoff curse and reaching the Western Conference Finals. But now, a new battle looms on the horizon. And this time, it's not just about winning on the court. A mountain of financial pressure is coming down on this squad, threatening to tear apart everything they've built. Over $205 million in payroll, $17 million over the second apron. This isn't just some minor cap hit. This is serious. The Timberwolves are running out of time, and changes have to be made. The big three, Karl-Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards. They've carried this team, but the question remains, can they carry the financial weight? The Timberwolves are staring down the barrel of tough decisions that could alter the future of the franchise. Let's break this down. Minnesota has exceeded the second apron limit, a line no team wants to cross. Why? Being over the second apron doesn't just hit you with penalties, it shackles your flexibility. No more mid-level exceptions, no more sign-and-trade deals, and making roster tweaks becomes nearly impossible. This season, their hands are tied financially. Minnesota GM Tim Connelly has to make some tough calls. Do you keep this core together and hope for a championship run? Or do you break up the big three, trading away one of your stars to avoid the looming financial meltdown? And then there's Anthony Edwards, the young star, the future of this franchise. Let's be real. Edwards is untouchable. He's the reason the Timberwolves are relevant right now. A breakout star at just 22, Edwards has become a force to be reckoned with. He averaged 26.4 points in the playoffs last season, leading the team against the best in the league. Edwards isn't just a scoring machine. He's developing into a leader, someone who can put the entire team on his back when it matters most. But even with his brilliance, Minnesota's financial situation puts his future in question too. Not that they'll trade him, but the lack of resources to build around him could hinder his chance to lead the team to a title. Now, let's talk about the other two members of the big three, Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. These two big men have made a significant impact, but here's where it gets tricky. Towns is on a max deal. Gobert, also a max deal. And the Timberwolves simply cannot afford to keep both while building a competitive roster. Something's gotta give. Towns has been the face of this franchise for years. His offensive prowess as a stretch big makes him a unique asset. Gobert, on the other hand, brought elite defense to a team that needed it. But is having two max contract 7-footers a viable long-term strategy? That's the burning question. With the salary cap limiting their ability to make key signings, the Timberwolves have to decide who stays and who goes. And just when you thought things couldn't get more complicated, enter the ownership drama. Alex Rodriguez, the baseball legend turned businessman, has his own uphill battle. A-Rod is trying to take over majority ownership of the Timberwolves, but legal complications with current owner Glenn Taylor are putting the future of the franchise in doubt. What does that mean for the Timberwolves? Everything. Rodriguez needs stability in the front office to solidify his ownership. But with these legal battles dragging on, the uncertainty is affecting not just the business side, but also the players and coaches. Imagine trying to focus on winning games when the team's ownership could change hands any day. Now, not everyone's sold on the Timberwolves' future. Take Charles Barkley, for example. He's been vocal about Minnesota's playoff run, calling it a fluke and predicting a regression this season. Barkley said, quote, "Minnesota will regress. They got lucky last year." Barkley pointed out that the Timberwolves benefited from Nikola Jokic being fatigued in the playoffs, with their two big men wearing him down. Some analysts believe they caught the right breaks. But was it really luck? Or did the Timberwolves figure out a strategy that just worked? Losing key players like Kyle Anderson and Monty Morris hurt Minnesota's depth, but the Timberwolves made a bold move this offseason, trading future draft picks to move up and select Rob Dillingham. Why? Because last season, despite their defensive dominance, The Timberwolves struggle defensively. Dillingham could be the piece that fixes that. Dillingham was a star at Kentucky, known for his scoring, averaging 15 points per game while hitting 44% from deep. Sure, he's only 6'1", and some teams questioned his defense. But with Gobert and Towns anchoring the paint, Minnesota isn't worried about that. What they need is someone to take the scoring load off of Edwards. So, what's next for the Timberwolves? With the Big Three facing an uncertain future, ownership in limbo, and financial challenges at every corner, this could be the season that defines the next decade for Minnesota. Will they keep this core intact and make a run at a championship? Or will the pressure of the salary cap and ownership struggles force their hand? One thing's for sure, Anthony Edwards isn't going anywhere, but whether or not he'll be able to lead this team to a title, well, that's the million-dollar question. Strap in, Timberwolves fans. This season could be the ride of your life. This is NBA Today Highlights, and we're here for every twist and turn.